morning. I'm Taylor Upchurch. Today is Sunday, February 17th. A physical therapy business in Pineville had their grand opening in their new building yesterday and used it as a chance to help raise scholarship money for kids in the local area. WYMT's Lauren McCourt talks to the owners about what giving back like this means to them.
Saturday held a special meeting for those with Apex Physical Therapy in Pineville.
We didn't want the grand opening to be so much about us because we've done that.
And not just because it was their grand opening in their new location.
So we figured what better way than to put the spotlight on somebody else when we know we have a large volume of people here, so we figured we would, highlight Blake.
Blake Jackson was a well-known athlete in Bell County.
Blake was always a hard worker. He was one of those kids that you always look up to.
After he was killed in a crash in 2017, those who knew him wanted a way to remember Blake.
A few years ago, they kind of put together right after Blake's passing a scholarship fund to donate, for the community to donate to a scholarship for high school athletes. Using
his humble and kind attitude as an example of what people should be.
Kind of remember his name year in and year out because he was such a good kid.
In recent years, the group started raising money for student athletes in the area in Blake's memory.
The last couple years we've been doing this, we've raised a total of $14,000.
Saturday, they held their first ever Blake for Blake CrossFit Challenge.
We just appreciate everything that his family's done for the community, and then we just want to be able to give back as much as possible. So we thought this would be a good outlet to do that.
Helping remember Blake's legacy for years to come. In Bell County, Lauren McCourt, WYMT Mountain News.
More than $4,000 was raised during yesterday's event. Workers say they look forward to hosting the CrossFit Challenge and raising money in years to come. And from clock keeper to inspiration, services will be at 7 this evening for the #1 fan of the boys Millard Mustangs basketball team. Tracey Mae died in his Pike County home on Thursday after health complications. Now the team and their coaches are looking back on fond memories of Mae.
No matter how much negativity there were, Tracey was always our positive light, and he was always there for us, and he was always there to make us smile.
The funeral will be tomorrow at 1 p.m. at the Unity Free Will Baptist Church. And now let's check in with meteorologist Kelly McShane for a look at your forecast this morning. Kelly?
Well, we're dealing with a little bit of a rain and a little bit of a rain, snow, freezing rain mix, and that's what you can see there in the pinks on Pinpoint Doppler. But overall, most of us are getting in on some heavy rain this morning, waking up to plenty of rainfall. But those folks to the north are still seeing a little bit of freezing rain because those temperatures are a little bit on the cooler side at around that freezing mark, but just below it. That's why we're seeing that sleet or freezing rain up to the north in our northern counties, and they're seeing rain to the south because they are in the upper 30s to low 40s. So that temperature difference is why we're seeing a difference in precipitation, and we do have a winter weather advisory until 10 a.m. for these counties. They're the northern counties, and that's where we are seeing a little bit of freezing rain. So we can't rule out any slick spots on the roads. Even if you are not seeing freezing rain or sleet, the roads are still going to be a little bit slippery because we have plenty of rainfall. So here's that travel forecast. Slick spots possible in our northern counties. That includes Interstate 64. You just saw where that winter weather advisory was. And then for the afternoon, we're going to keep the yellow light because heavy rain is possible at times, creating some problems on the roadways as well. Twitter topics for today, well, we have a soggy forecast in store for the next couple of days. That includes daily rain chances and flooding potential, and I'll have all that and more coming up at 8:12. Taylor.
Thank you, Kelly. It was a hard goodbye for many Kentucky families yesterday as members of the National Guard were deployed overseas. Nearly 60 Kentucky Guard aviation soldiers were deployed to the Middle East. During a departure ceremony at the Boone National Guard Center, Kentucky's National Guard leaders and Governor Matt Bevin wished the soldiers a safe journey. Families also shared hugs and kisses as they told their loved ones goodbye.
I'm so extremely proud of him, but as a mom of an only child, I'm scared to death. You do what you can, you keep a brave face.
Since the 9/11 attacks, the Kentucky National Guard has sent more than 18,000 soldiers overseas in support of the global war on terror. And Governor Matt Bevin ordered flags to be at half-staff tomorrow in honor of a Kentucky soldier who died in Syria. The governor ordered that both U.S. and Kentucky flags be lowered to honor Army Chief Warrant Officer 2, Jonathan Farmer. Farmer was from Florida. He was stationed in Fort Campbell. Farmer was killed in January by an explosive device. And firefighters with the Manchester Fire Department were dispatched to 3 fires at the same property within 2 days. They first arrived at a home on Curry Branch Road off Kentucky 80 on Friday morning. They put out a fire to an outbuilding. Later that day, they were called to another outbuilding fire on the same property. The latest fire happened yesterday morning. It was also an outbuilding, this one closer to a trailer. No one was hurt. Firefighters say an arson investigator was notified. And the widow of a worker who was killed last year when his dump truck came into contact with high voltage power lines filed a lawsuit against a Kentucky utility company. According to the Lexington Herald leader, Vicki Lynn Everman filed the suit Thursday. She claims Kentucky Utilities was reckless and failed to de-energize the power lines. And Passport Health Plan filed a lawsuit alleging that Kentucky's cuts to Medicaid reimbursement rates will result in the nonprofit going out of business. The business asks a judge to bar the state from imposing cuts. Passport Health Plan provides managed care for most of Kentucky's 1.3 million Medicaid enrollees. And a guard was fired from the Boyd County Detention Center after an investigation into the accidental release of an inmate Tuesday. The Boyd County jailer says the employee did not follow proper release protocol, leading to the release of this man, James Brewer. In addition to the guard being fired, the inmate who was supposed to be released was charged for the incident. Jailers say Todd Lesniak gave Brewer his inmate identification bracelet to help him escape. And Cincinnati Bengals running back Mark Walton faces a battery charge. Police say he got into an argument with a couple in Miami, became angry, and grabbed the woman's phone. Police say Walton and the woman both got scratches on them from the fight. Walton was released from the Miami-Dade County Jail after posting bond. And West Virginia's governor announced a state pilot program to address substance abuse use disorder is expanding. Governor Jim Justice says Berkeley and Jefferson counties will now be part of a project that provides prevention and treatment to communities. Wyoming County was the first to participate in 2018. The State Office of Drug Control Policy, Marshall University, and West Virginia University are all partnering up for the efforts. And in Virginia, lawmakers introduced a bill to rename a bridge in honor of a fallen Southwest Virginia state trooper. If it passes, a bridge on Interstate 81 would be renamed as Trooper Lucas Dowell Bridge. The trooper was killed while helping serve a search warrant at the beginning of this month. And new details are emerging about the workplace shooting that left 5 people dead and half a dozen police officers injured in Illinois. Police say the 45-year-old shooter was a convicted felon and should not have had possession of a gun. Adriana Diaz has the latest from Aurora.
Police say 45-year-old Gary Martin, a 15-year employee of the Henry Pratt manufacturing facility in Aurora, Illinois, had just been fired when he allegedly killed everyone in the room.
My understanding from the witnesses is that he opened fire right after the termination.
Aurora is requesting as many ambulances as possible for an active shooter with many injuries.
The first calls came in around 1:24 p.m. Friday. Officers responded to the scene and exchanged gunfire with the suspect. It took them nearly 90 minutes to track him down.
He was in a back machine shop at the very back corner of the building, probably waiting for us to get to him.
People who lived nearby heard the gun battle.
Because it was ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. So, yeah, and it was like in space, and then came another shots.
A human resources manager and an intern are among the 5 people killed. 5 police officers were wounded and another received minor injuries.
Police say the suspect was a convicted felon, making him ineligible to own a gun. Investigators are now trying to figure out how he slipped through the cracks.
Absolutely, he was not supposed to be in possession of a firearm.
The plant remains closed as the community grieves the lives shattered in another act of gun violence. Adriana Diaz, CBS News, Aurora, Illinois.
Police say Martin used a .40 caliber Smith & Wesson handgun with a laser to carry out the workplace massacre. Coming up on Mountain News this morning, a zombie deer disease is making headlines across the Midwest. We have the details. And later in sports, Kentucky basketball dominated the #1 team in the nation last night. We have the highlights coming up.
A few slick spots are possible early this morning. I'll break down the rain chances for the week coming up next.